Hello, Bob.
How did you get in here? Lisa, the killer. I never thought you had it in you.
Professor Lisa had no idea she was my accomplice.
You might think The Simpsons are all about jokes, donuts, and family chaos. But what if I told you that behind all that humor, there are episodes that go far beyond comedy? The Simpsons can be funny, sure, but sometimes they go way too deep. Some stories stick with us not because they made us laugh, but because they made us think, shiver, or even shed a silent tear. Unexpected moments of pain, death, trauma, and even psychological horror that still leave fans feeling uneasy to this day, and that's exactly what we're diving into today. In this video, we'll explore the darkest, most disturbing episodes of The Simpsons. Season 34, Episode 6, Treehouse of Horror 33. Let's start with Season 34. It all begins with a simple bedtime story. Marge, exhausted after another long day of taking care of the house, and Maggie finds an unfamiliar book among her daughter's toys. The title, The Pookadook, dark, eerie, filled with disturbing illustrations. But like any mother desperate to get her child to sleep, she starts reading. What seems like a harmless children's story slowly turns into an invitation to a nightmare. Hidden deep within the pages of that book was something alive, something that had been waiting for her. Marge tries to get rid of it. She burns it, throws it away, hides it, but it keeps coming back. Eventually, the evil takes hold, and that's when the episode shifts from comedy to full-on psychological horror. The entity known as the Pookadook possesses Marge. Her eyes go dark. She starts wandering the house with a knife in hand, and Maggie becomes her target. The toddler tries to escape. She hides. She fights back using her toys. Every step Marge takes in that house is loaded with tension. Every scene feels more suffocating. She's not there anymore. She's no longer the mother we know. Then comes the most intense moment. Marge corners Maggie in the basement. The knife gleams. Her stare is empty. And for a second, the worst seems inevitable. But Maggie, in her quiet innocence, reaches out and gently touches her mother's face. She says nothing, just looks at her as if to say, "You're still in there." And that's enough to break the spell. Marge begins to tear up. The monster is cast out. She sucks it into a vacuum cleaner as if cleaning the pain with her own hands. In the end, mother and daughter embrace in silence. And as bizarre as it all may seem, the fear it left behind was real, because this episode didn't terrify us with just its visuals or sounds. It scared us with the idea that sometimes the most dangerous monsters are the ones that live inside us. Season 6, Episode 6, Treehouse of Horror 5. Season 6 brought us what is still considered the darkest and most terrifying Halloween episode in The Simpsons history, the legendary Treehouse of Horror 5, split into 3 segments. It dives deep into psychological horror, graphic violence, and chilling alternate realities that left many viewers genuinely disturbed.
I can get you home, but you have to do exactly as I...
This is indeed a disturbing universe.
And it all begins with a bold, sinister parody of Stanley Kubrick's classic The Shining, The Shinning. In this version, Homer takes on the role of the caretaker of an isolated hotel where the Simpson family is staying for the winter. What starts as a peaceful getaway quickly spirals into a claustrophobic nightmare. No TV and no beer. That's all it takes for Homer to completely lose it. His eyes go wild, his mind breaks, and from that point on, he has only one goal: kill his entire family. The scene where he's wielding an axe, smashing through doors to find them, is hilarious, but also deeply unsettling, especially as we see Marge and the kids running in sheer panic, terrified of what Homer has become. The tension builds relentlessly with a suffocating atmosphere that echoes the dread of the original film. Marge hides and tries calling the police, warning them that her husband is coming after them with an axe, but the officer simply cuts the phone line.
This is Marge Simpson. My husband is on a murderous rampage. Over.
Oh, well, thank God that's over. I was worried there for a second.
Bart tries to call for help, but when help arrives, Homer finds the rescuer and buries the axe in his back. From there, the pursuit continues, turning this segment into a full-blown horror experience. Even though it's a parody, the tone is far darker than usual, and for many fans, it's remembered as the first Simpsons episode that genuinely scared them, but the horror doesn't stop there. Next up is the segment Time and Punishment. In your text, you called this segment Nightmare Cafeteria. In Nightmare Cafeteria, Principal Skinner is overwhelmed overwhelmed, detention is overcrowded, and lunch lady Doris is being forced to serve grade F meat in the cafeteria. Skinner finds a disturbingly practical solution to both problems: serve the misbehaving students as food. The first to go is Jimbo Jones, who becomes Jimbo Burgers. Uter is then sent to detention and later served as a dish called Uter Braten.
Bart, does it strike you as odd that Uter disappeared and suddenly they're serving us this mysterious food called Uterbraten?
Oh, relax, kids. I've got a gut feeling Uter's around here somewhere.
Bart and Lisa begin to uncover the truth, but one by one, the kids are sent to detention, where they're imprisoned and eaten. The children turn to Marge for help, but she brushes it off, saying they need to stand up for themselves and be assertive, look them in the eye and say, "Don't eat me." Eventually, only Bart, Lisa, and Milhouse are left. They try to escape, but the teachers corner them beneath a giant industrial blender. Groundskeeper Willie attempts to save them, but is axed in the back by Skinner. All hope seems lost until Bart wakes up. It was all a nightmare. Marge tries to calm him, saying there's nothing to worry about except for the mysterious green fog that turns people inside out. The mist creeps in through the window, and the Simpsons and Willie are turned inside out. They end the segment with a grotesque musical number as the credits roll. These two segments turned this Halloween special into a true animated horror masterpiece. It's violent, disturbing, and surprisingly profound. It proves that the Simpsons are far more than jokes and satire. Sometimes they know exactly how to tap into our deepest fears and make us laugh right after we flinch. Season 26, Episode 4, Treehouse of Horror 25. In School is Hell. Hell has never looked so fun and so disturbing at the same time. The segment starts innocently enough, with Bart being punished yet again for misbehaving at Springfield Elementary. As usual, he's forced to write lines on the chalkboard, but this time he scribbles in an ancient demonic language, one he didn't even know he could read. Something sinister happens. A portal opens in the floor, and Bart and Lisa are sucked straight into hell, literally. But instead of panic, Bart feels right at home. At the infernal school, he quickly discovers that his rebellious nature and chaotic antics aren't flaws, they're talents. In hell, being bad is a badge of honor. Bart becomes a star student, praised by demonic teachers, and effortlessly adapts to his new environment. He's the best in class, and for the first time in his life, he feels like he truly belongs. But this new school comes at a price. Visually, the episode is drenched in hellish imagery, satanic symbols, monstrous creatures, medieval torture devices. Students are maimed, dismembered, and tormented in creatively brutal ways. Teachers with grotesque appearances lecture on subjects like creative mutilation and advanced eternal punishment. It's all played for laughs, but the humor is pitch black, unsettling, and pushed many viewers past their comfort zone. The episode is visually intense, soaked in reds, fire, chains, and beasts, creating a heavy, oppressive atmosphere rarely seen in The Simpsons. Even though it's part of a Halloween special, many fans felt the imagery was too graphic for network TV, especially the way hell is portrayed as desirable. The most jarring moment comes at the end, when Bart faces a choice: go back to regular school, where he's treated like a failure, or stay in hell, where he's respected and celebrated. The hidden social commentary is sharp and brutal. Hell offers acceptance, real school offers repression. This segment doesn't just play with the idea of Bart's dream school. It poses a disturbing question. What if the real hell is the world above, where no one sees your worth? Season 29, Episode 4, Treehouse of Horror 28. Among all the Simpsons Halloween specials, few have been as deeply unsettling and psychologically disturbing as Coraliza, a clear homage to the acclaimed film Coraline. But here, the story takes on that unique Simpsons twist, resulting in something both fascinating and creepy. It all begins with Lisa, bored and lonely, as usual, in the middle of her chaotic household. Ignored by Homer, overlooked by Marge, and constantly irritated by Bart, she stumbles upon a mysterious tunnel hidden inside the house. Curious as ever, she crawls through it and finds an alternate version of her family on the other side. But something's off. In this new dimension, everyone is kinder, more understanding, more perfect, but they all have black button eyes sewn into their faces. This version of Marge cooks all of Lisa's favorite meals. Homer isn't lazy or selfish. Bart actually respects her. It's everything Lisa's ever wanted, and yet something feels wrong. The soft, eerie soundtrack, the overly wide smiles, eyes, the unblinking stares, it all creates a creeping sense of dread. And then it happens. The other Marge invites Lisa to sew buttons into her own eyes, the price to stay in this perfect reality. The scene, though softened by animation, is deeply disturbing. Lisa initially refuses and returns to her real world, only to find out that Homer has stuffed a dead snake into her saxophone. Disgusted and hurt, Lisa runs back to the other world and agrees to sew buttons into her eyes to stay forever. Soon, Bart and Marge discover the portal too, and once they experience this ideal world, they also choose to sew on the buttons. Eventually, Homer decides to follow them, but his arrival disrupts everything. He accidentally destroys button-eyed Bart and the alternate Homer, which enrages the other Marge, transforming her into a monstrous spider-like version of herself. But instead of being terrified, Homer plays it for laughs, lightening the tone of an otherwise dark and haunting story.
You killed my husband?
Spider wife, dead son, 2 girls with button eyes. I think this marriage has finally gotten out of its rut.
Coralisa is one of those rare segments where the fear doesn't come from gore or monsters, but from psychological tension, emotional manipulation, and deep loneliness. That's what makes it stand out, because it leaves you wondering, would it really be so great to live with a perfect version of your family if it meant giving up who you are? Episodes that were almost too dark. Not all of The Simpsons' darkest moments involve zombies, ghosts, or alternate realities. Sometimes the real shock comes from episodes that tackle painful, all too real, and even taboo subjects. There are episodes that nearly cross the line of what's acceptable. Some were censored, others delayed, and many faced heavy criticism. This is our bonus round, the episodes that weren't part of the Halloween specials, but were still way too dark to go unnoticed. Season 9, Episode 6, The Cartridge Family. One of the most controversial episodes of all time is Season 9's The Cartridge Family. In it, Homer decides to buy a gun to protect his family after Springfield descends into a wave of violence. The problem? He doesn't use it responsibly. He fires it inside the house, points it at his friends, brings it to Moe's, and even jokingly threatens Bart with it. The episode delivers a clear critique of American gun culture, but the careless, almost casual way Homer treats firearms sparked outrage. In several countries, the episode was censored or outright banned. Even in the US, it faced backlash from campaigns claiming The Simpsons were glamorizing irresponsible gun ownership. To this day, it remains one of the show's most controversial moments. Season 30, Episode 1, Bart's Not Dead. Another powerful example is Season 30's Bart's Not Dead. In this episode, Bart suffers a serious accident after accepting a reckless dare to jump off a cliff. He falls into a coma, and when he wakes up, he lies, claiming he went to heaven and saw Jesus. The lie spirals into a so-called miracle, then into a Christian movie, and soon, the entire town is caught up in the deception. The episode delivers a bold critique of the faith-based film industry and the exploitation of religious belief. Though comedic in tone, the subject matter struck a nerve with many viewers. Some found it offensive or disrespectful toward faith. Even more unsettling is the subtle touch on the idea of childhood suicide attempts, a deeply sensitive topic, especially in a show watched by audiences of all ages. These kinds of episodes remind us that true horror doesn't always come from monsters or demons. Sometimes what truly disturbs us are the real-world themes, those that expose uncomfortable truths about society, religion, violence, or even ourselves. And that's exactly why The Simpsons, even in their most controversial moments, remain so relevant, because they're not afraid to show what most would rather hide, even if it means facing censorship or backlash. After so many bizarre, shocking, and intense episodes, one thing is clear: The Simpsons were never just a comedy. Behind the quick jokes, political satire, and sharp humor, there's always been a deep ability to explore the darker side of life and of the human mind. The show isn't afraid to confront what hurts, what scares, and what makes us uncomfortable. And maybe that's exactly what makes The Simpsons so unique, so enduring, and so beloved, because while we laugh, the show makes us think. And just when we least expect it, it holds up a mirror to our fears. Some episodes stayed with us because of their violence, others because of their sadness, and many simply because they made us feel something we never expected to feel while watching a cartoon. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these episodes hit you the hardest? What scene has stuck in your mind? Drop a comment below. I'm genuinely curious to know what your darkest Simpsons moment was with this strangely human family. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon, because in the world of The Simpsons, even the darkness has something to teach us. See you in the next episode. Until then,